Hi book friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and this is my November reading wrap up, and I'm sorry it's so late. It's almost exactly the middle of December and I'm just getting around to what I read in November. But I didn't want to just skip November altogether because I had some pretty good reads and also some pretty terrible reads. So before we begin, if you're a subscriber, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you see something that you like. If you like books, if you like to yap about books, if you like to hear other people yap about books, this is a great place for you to be. So let's talk about what we read in November. I read 5 books and I had 2 DNFs. I don't remember, or I don't even think I ever have had 2 DNFs in a single month. So let's get the DNFs out of the way. For my book club that I run over on Discord, we decided to read A Letter to the Luminous Deep. This has been on my radar for about a year since my daughter decided she wanted to read it. So I did get it for my birthday, finally got around to reading it with my book club. For those of you who don't know, A Letter to the Luminous Deep is written completely in letters and emails. It is an epistolary novel. I think that's how you say it. And I loved it. This was the first book that I had ever read that was in that format. I did not, however, like the writing. The writing was so highly academic that the people writing the letters, to me, just felt like they weren't real people. Their letters did not follow a single subject. They would jump around. They would talk about random thoughts. And then they did so much apologizing in these letters for jumping around, referring to somebody by a more informal name. Anything that they could have thought to apologize for, they did. So 100%, it was the writing that did me in with this book. There was not a single person in my book club that read this book that enjoyed it. I think there were some that were mid. There were some that didn't. I think there were some that didn't pick it up after they heard what other people were saying. There were other people who DNF'd it. Every person had a gripe about this book, whether they finished it or not. So obviously this will be going in my unhaul pile. In fact, I think I already unhauled it. The next one that I DNF'd was Someone You Can Build a Nest In. I bought this over the summer, I think, at Barnes & Noble's. I did get the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition. It was different colors and it had the sprayed edges. And it won some sort of an award. It was either a Hugo Award or a Nebula Award, or it was up for it or something. And I had heard some interesting things about it, and the premise just seemed really cool. It was like a sci-fi, paranormal, horror, fantasy romance. You have this monster. She reproduces by literally laying her eggs inside of a human. She meets a human whose family is trying to kill her. Her first thought is, oh, she would be a good person to put my eggs in, to build a nest in. The only thing is that the human that is chosen to be the nest will die eventually. And this monster, whose name was Shishi Shen, and that was so hard to just read in my brain over and over and over again, starts falling for this human. The human does not know that this is a monster. Somehow she thinks that this is a human being. That's a blob. It was really weird. Did I think that this book was hard to read, bad to read? No, not at all. It was not like Letters to the Luminous Deep, where I just dreaded picking it up, and as I was reading it, I was just confused and getting a headache. It was not like that. It was just boring. I did not find it entertaining. I did not find that I was excited to pick it up. And so for that reason, I said bye-bye. So now let's talk about the books that I did read. These are in no particular order. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is Wild Dark Shore. I rated this a 4-star. When I went into this book, I thought it was just a pure mystery. There is a family who lives on this really cold remote island. It is their job to protect and take care of this seed bank. And a seed bank is a place where a whole bunch of different seeds are kept frozen in case there is some sort of an apocalypse or something on Earth where we have no access to these plants and these fruits and vegetables anymore. So we have access to a seed bank so that we can then regrow this food. Woman washes up on the shore. I thought it was a dead woman from everything that I had read. And there was a mystery there was a mystery around who she was, how she died, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. A woman does wash ashore. She's actually rescued by one of the children, but she's not dead. So they do nurse her back to health, and throughout the course of the book, we find out who she is, how she's related to the island. We find out little snippets and bits and pieces of things that have happened on the island in the recent past. When we get to the end of the book, there is not a single character who I thought of in the same way as I did at the beginning of the book. Every single character in this book went through such an evolution. Even the child, who was like 9. This story quickly became less of a mystery and more of a literary fiction. It talked a whole lot about sacrifice, specifically a mother's sacrifice, but in a more broad sense, a parent's sacrifice for their children. And I felt so warm and fuzzy, even though this island was so cold. I did not understand some parts of it when it talked about how cold it was, but they still went swimming. I didn't understand that. It was an emotional read. I did cry a little bit at the end. Probably the only thing I didn't like about this book was the cover. The cover to me just screams like dirty water, and that has nothing to do with our story. And I think that because this book is so far removed from the type of books that I normally read, it is one that has stuck in my brain and that I continue to think about. I definitely recommend this book. This next book I absolutely hated, and I really don't know why I didn't DNF it. Maybe because I had already DNF'd 2 books in the month and I was just like, what is wrong with me? I need to stick to a book. This fall time, I have been seeing so many books that are released that just look so cozy fall romance. There are a ton of books that have the fall cover on the front, the fall leaves, the illustrated cover. Some of them even have the fall leaves sprayed edges. And one of the books was comped to Gilmore Girls. It was set in the 90s. And I couldn't get that book right away. So I got a book that looked similar to that. It sounded similar to that. And sort of in my mind, I was like, okay, all these like fall romance books that are coming out are probably pretty much the same. So let's just grab the one that I have available to me at the time. And that was Fall I Want. This book started out so cute. A woman is a barista at a coffee shop in this small town. There's a handsome man. It was all going down the roads that I loved. And then it crashed and burned. So we have 2 main characters. We have the female and the male. And the female main character keeps having these dreams that she talks about with her friends. And there is a man in these dreams. It's the same man. They call him Mr. Dreamy, I think. And she keeps having these romance dreams, these romantic, probably sexual dreams about Mr. Dreamy. Lo and behold, Mr. Dreamy walks into the coffee shop one day. And when they see each other and when they talk to each other, it is like, bam, electric, life-changing, all the bells and whistles. And something has recently happened in his life that makes him terrified of this. So he instantly puts up this guard and is a complete asshole to her. Tells her that her coffee tastes like shit and just leaves. And she's like, well, that is crazy. Mr. Dreamy finally came into my coffee shop and he was a total jerk. Some things happen. They keep running into each other. They start to sort of get each other's story a little bit. And there is a situation where a fake dating situation would benefit him, and monetarily it would benefit her. He's like mega billionaire, by the way. So they decide to do this fake dating, okay? Still on the road to success, still liking the book. After that, it turned to insta-love so quickly I had whiplash. Within days, they were talking about marriage. He was throwing money at her left and right. It was so fast burn, no satisfaction. What the heck just happened here? Very unrealistic, might I add. So then let's talk about the spicy stuff. Because of course there's spicy stuff in this book. The first time that they're together, she is full on adult film star. Naked butt in the air. There is nothing wrong with that. It just did not fit her character. Then there's another aspect to their sex life that included something that is not written about in a lot of the books that I read. In fact, it was the first time that I have read about this event happening in a book. It rhymes with blurting. And it was so just glossed over. She was like, oh, did I do that? And then moved on. That was it. I was like, that was weird. I had to go back and read it. I was like, did I read that right? That's interesting. I would have thought that they would have like discussed it more, talked about it more, because apparently this was the first time that it had happened to her. And then from there, it just got so unrealistic as far as the things that he did for her with his money. And it was such a huge letdown because fall is sort of over and I don't really want to read another fall romance right now, but I feel like I didn't get that part of my reader self satisfied this fall. So that was sort of a letdown. I do have another book on hold at the library, but it's probably not going to come in until the springtime. So I'm not sure if I'm going to read it then or just wait until next year. Then I read the second book in the Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Fae, and I rated it 4.5 stars. I'm not going to go into too much depth in this book because it is the second book in a series. But I just want to say that the Zodiac Academy as a whole, I have really been liking. It does not have the best writing. There is a lot of cringy moments in it, but it is so bingeable. It is so enjoyable while I'm reading it. And I do plan on reading the entire series, including all of the spin-offs and different series that are related to it. I know it's going to take me a long time because there's like 22 books or something like that. But even though the books are thick, they are a quick read. So if you're on the fence about reading the Zodiac Academy, I would at least give it a try. 2 more books. Then I read The House of Frank. This is a cozy fantasy that has been on my radar since before it was published. I was a part of Easy Cat's bindery launch. Easy Cat is a content creator, a bookish content creator who started a small publishing imprint through Bindery. And it's sort of like Patreon. The money that the subscribers pay for every month goes towards helping publish a book. And so this was his first one that he found and helped publish. So I have heard about this book from the very beginning. I bought it pretty much when it was released, and it took me this long to actually get to it. It's a cozy fantasy, and the main theme in this is grief. The main theme of this book is overcoming grief, different ways that people grieve. Because of that, it was emotional. It wasn't emotional enough to make me cry. I did give it a 3 stars because it was just kind of boring to me. Other fantasy books that I have really loved, Legends and Lattes, The Spell Shop, Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, have kept me hooked and wanting to read more. And this book just didn't do that for me. It does have found family. It reminded me a little bit of House on the Cerulean Sea because there was a house where a whole bunch of different magical creatures sort of lived together. So it was giving the TJ Klune vibes. It just wasn't very fast-paced and entertaining for me. That's all I can say. And the last book I have to talk to you about is another one of my nerdy romance books that I just love. And that was Roll for Romance. I absolutely eat up any type of romance book that has to do with D&D, fandoms, any sort of nerdy stuff. The book could probably be pretty terrible, but if it has that element thrown in, I'm going to knock it up a star or 2. This one was so good. Did I say that I rated it 4 stars? I rated it 4 stars. So this is a group of beginner D&D players. 2 of them fall for each other. But what's really cool is we get alternating chapters of in real life and then in game life. So we follow their characters in real life, and then we follow their characters in the game. And we see how their relationship progresses in real life, and then we see how their relationship progresses in the game. That aspect was so bingeable and readable to me, and it made the book so enjoyable. I was giddy while I was reading this book. I have so many nerdy books, nerdy romance books on my list, and this was just another one that I checked off my list, another one that I love, and it was really enjoyable. That's all I can say about it. So those are the books that I read in the month of November. I would love to hear if you have read any of those. What was your favorite book in November? Have you DNF'd any books lately? Because apparently I am a serial DNF'er lately. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, and your subscribes. All of my other social media information is in the link below. And until the next time, happy reading.